Hi folks, Sandy. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Interesting video we've got for you today. I'm going to be talking about how we design Bogu for KendoStar. So I did a live stream the other day in the Kendo Show Early Access group, which I will post to YouTube, and there'll be a link to it in the description down below. And basically I joined the live stream. I talked about the things that I think about when I'm looking to design a new Bogu, and I talked about sort of some concept ideas that I've got for a new Bogu set. So lots of people wanted me to follow that up with my actual process of designing a Bogu set from scratch. So that's what we've got here right now, and that's what we're going to be doing, is actually I'm going to go through the process of actually designing the Bogu, and we're going to make a sort of a design sheet, a spec sheet, shall we say, that I'll send off to the workshop, and we'll get a sample made up and see how it comes back. So that's the idea of the video. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you find it interesting. Before we jump into it though, if you do like the videos that I put out, whether it's this kind of video, whether it's the instructional videos and things like Kendo 0 to Shodan, the kata video that I put out just yesterday, or even Kendo Rant, which is like the Q&A type show that I do, you can support the channel by shopping at KendoStar.com. KendoStar, of course, is my website. That's what we're designing the Bogu for right now. Yeah, it's basically what helps the channel. Well, it's why the channel exists. So without KendoStar, there is no Kendo Show, and vice versa. So if you do like what we're doing, make sure you do shopping at KendoStar.com. Right. Okay, so here we have a sort of blank design sheet that we're going to be using for our sort of spec sheet that we'll be sending on to the workshop for them to make this Bogu. Yeah, it's just like some basic stuff that I picked up along the way, really, that basically details a very blank picture of a kote here. We've got a tare, and this is the men button, all right? And for details like the mengane and the ago and stuff like that, probably I'll just write that in text. Now, I'm going to have to write this all out in Japanese, so I'll translate it as I'm going along. But basically, the concept of the Bogu that we're going to be designing today is based on our most popular Vanguard model. And what I talked about in the live stream the other day, like I said, there's a link to it in the description below, is I want to make a Bogu set that really fits somewhere in between the Vanguard Bogu and the Praetor. Essentially, there's several areas of a Bogu that, you know, the different qualities that you have to try and encompass when you come to design a Bogu. That's things like protection, cost, durability, comfort, lightweight, whether it's lightweight or whatever, you know. And these different things, these pull in different directions. So the Vanguard, I made it to be a really good all-rounder that kind of covers all of those bases reasonably well. But we're going to pull this slightly in one of those directions, all right? And what we're going to take it in the direction of is we're going to take it in the slightly prestige direction. I want this to be a kind of deluxe version of the Vanguard, a kind of gold model, as it were. And I think we'll probably take it in that way. But what that means is it's going to detract from some of the other areas, and namely, that's in this case, it's probably going to be the sort of cost performance part of it. It's going to get a little bit more expensive because we're going to use some slightly high grade materials. Not that that's a problem, but if I take it to the extreme in that way, where we get towards the Praetor, there the price jumps up quite a lot, but I want it to sit somewhere in between. So it's for people that want something that's a little bit more prestige than the standard Vanguard model, but don't really want to splash out on something like the Praetor. So what we're going to do, we're going to just make some slight modifications to the overall design, to be honest. I'm going to start, let me just make some space here. So one of the things I want to do is I want to really, let's get the basics down of the spec. Okay, let's get the basics down. So this, the Vanguard is 10mm stitching, okay? And we're going to keep that there on the, it's going to keep that same 10mm type stitching, all right? And the men daddy 5mm, okay, and that's because 10mm is really great. Why, if you watch the video that I did about the live stream, I explain in that the wider stitching of the 10mm does give that brilliant extra cushioning, but the 5mm on the men daddy is just that little bit better for the durability, where it's going to rub against your shoulders. So we're going to keep that. What we're also going to do is we're going to make sure this stays as nanamezashi, okay? Okay, so nanamezashi is diagonal stitching, okay? We're going to keep it as nanamezashi like that, okay? Not great at formatting, but it'll do. Okay, I think you can understand that, okay? Make that a bit smaller there, and we'll put another one over on that side. I'm just using Photoshop to make this, as you can tell. So we've got a base spec already here of 10mm in the main striking area, and then 5mm on the member done, okay? And what we're going to do as well is we're going to echo that now. That 10mm there is going onto the Maiobi of the tare. So this keeps it nice and flexible, like that. We'll go there, and we'll take the 5mm naname, and what we're going to do with that, right, is we're going to take that down to here, but we're going to get rid of that word naname. Whoops, made the text naname. We're going to get rid of the word naname is actually there because we don't need it. Okay, we don't need it. See if I'm holding the right buttons as I'm trying to enlarge stuff. They just updated Photoshop, so I'm a little bit out of touch with the old key commands. All right, so we've got our spec there. Get back to this 10mm here, like that. Let's just get another one there. We'll get that on the kote as well, because we want the kote to be nice, thick and protective, don't we? Yeah, it's going to be nice like that. Okay, so we've got our basic spec down. Now, what else do we want to do with this bogu? We want to talk about the reinforcement parts of the bogu. Now, we're going to make this orizashi. We can choose between orizashi. We could use synthetic deerskin, or we could use real deerskin. Real deerskin is the nicest stuff to use for this, but it's also by far the most expensive. So we don't want to go quite that far in terms of the of pushing the cost out to on you know, in that direction. Synthetic deerskin looks really, really nice, but I'm going to stick with orizashi like for this one, because it kind of keeps in with the Vanguard theme. It's quicker to dry, and we're going to use real deerskin in other places, and I don't want to mix real deerskin and synthetic deerskin because that looks a little bit odd. So we're going to make this orizashi. Oops, let's put this back into Japanese. Orizashi. So we can find the kanji. Whoops, butterfingers, sash. Okay, so this is going to be orizashi fabric. Okay, this is the kind of cotton fabric that's used on the kendogi, yeah, like that woven fabric, and we're going to use it down here as well. What we're going to do is we're going to need to draw a line across here to show what I'm talking about. So I'm doing some very crude photoshopping. But it'll do. It's just got to be understood, right? It's just got to be understood. Doesn't have to be the Mona Lisa. So that'll do there. We'll put another one in the middle. It's like that. Okay, it gives the idea, doesn't it? Right, good. Okay, and then we'll get that text orizashi there, and we'll bring that down to here. All right, and we'll put a little arrow in next, so they can easily tell what's the new. There we go. Change the icon. Didn't used to look like that. It used to look like a piece of paper with the corner folded over. Anyway, I want to draw a little arrow, and here we're going to get really artistic. You ready for this? Ready for this? We're going to go like that, little arrow like that. I'm going to draw another one that goes like that, and then I'm going to draw another one that goes across there like that. Okay, so there's no mistake there that those bits are supposed to be orizashi. Okay, nice. And you know what we can do at the same time? We can also draw another one that goes to here, because that's what we want. We want this part to be orizashi as well. All right, so we've got something that looks very much like the original Vanguard right now. Okay, so we're going to start putting in our distinguishing features. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about the Herikawa, all right, and the Urakawa. Now, the Herikawa is the edge and leather here, all right? Like I said it in that live stream video, so you definitely want to go and watch that, because I do give a lot of information about that. But basically, this leather, this edge and leather that goes around here, all right? We're going to use real deerskin for that. The current Vanguard uses synthetic deerskin to save on the costs a little bit. So we're going to push the boat out there where we can, all right? And it'll just give it that slightly prestige sort of edge to it, all right? So it'll look very much like the standard Vanguard for the time being, but it'll have that sort of slightly more prestige feel of real deerskin. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop in some text, and we're going to put Konshikagawa. See if the kanji comes. There we go. So Konshikagawa, that means navy deerskin, right? That's what we're going to use for these areas. So we're going to get our pen out again. I'm going to start drawing those brilliant artistic arrows, and that's going to go here. And we're going to do it on the Mimikawa as well. That's this part here. I think that's going to look nice with the real deerskin. This leather part here on the tare. And we're going to go down to the Herikawa there. And we're going to, I don't want to cross the streams like in Ghostbusters. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring this down a bit here, so that I can, where are we? So that what I can do is for these Sumikawa here, see how brilliantly drawn they are? I can label them as Shikagawa as well, as deerskin as well. All right, so we definitely get that. Okay, that's nice. I'm going to write it all in text as well, so it's going to look, it's going to be easy to understand when it's all done. Now, what I want to do as well is I'm going to pop in another layer, and I'm going to just put that into black. And what I want to do here is I want to make sure I'm a nice hard brush, because the next thing we're going to do is I want to just color over that, and I'm going to color there, and I want to color there like that. That's a bit too thick, that, isn't it? Let's rein that in a bit. There, and there, like that. So we've got some yoroi gata kote, right? Because I quite like that look. We're gonna make them yoroi. I keep why am I typing English? Yoroi. There we go. Yoroi gata, like that, so that they know that that's going to be yoroi gata. And what we're also going to do, I'm just going to flick back to this layer here. I'm going to get my red arrow again that I'm so good at drawing, and I'm going to stick that there like that. Oh, it's too thick again. I'm going to stick like that as well, so that the kote gashira is totally deerskin as well. All right. So here's the changes we've made so far. We've made the Mimikawa and the the Herikawa, also this Sumikawa, and we made the kote atama, or the kote gashira, also in full real deerskin. I'm getting mixed up in the languages now. So that's going to really add to that sort of prestige level. It's going to look really, really nice. It's going to be a super nice Orizashi Borg set, and I'm really liking the idea of this. I think it's going to be super nice. So what we're going to add in next is we're going to talk about the tenuchi. This is something else we're going to change from the original Vanguard spec. The original Vanguard spec uses synthetic deerskin as well, synthetic brown deerskin. That's one option. Another option is smoked deerskin, which is really good. But I actually really like the white bleached deerskin. excuse me. So oh, got something in my throat. So I'm going to stick with the white deer skin because I really, really like that. It's the same that we use in the Praetor and in the Kaisei. And it's a really nice feel. It really does feel great. So, and it doesn't leave that smell. I know some people really like the smoked smell. And I don't hate the smoke smell myself, but what I don't like about it is it lingers on your hands after practice for ages. So I'm not going that way. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to put this dead simple. Just just a white deer skin. All right, I'm going to know that that's what that needs to be. Okay, I'm going to draw some arrows there. Probably change the color of the arrows for this so it's a bit easier for them to understand. Like that. What we'll do is, I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll just write as well Tenuichi. So there's no confusion there about what I'm talking about. Okay. So what else is on this diagram I want to write, want to draw on or write? I can't think. I'll tell you what I do want to write. We're going to write here. Not that. So what I've written here, that means please make this area as thick as possible. All right. So this area needs to be as thick as possible. So it's protective. Okay. I'll just write konobumen. This isn't perfect Japanese, by the way, but it's good enough for them to understand. So I like to keep it simple. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to complicate it with like loads of grammar and stuff. You could probably write this in more accurate ways, but like anyone that reads this will understand it. I'll just put Atsuki stick at the side for this part. Probably don't need that full stop there. For the kote as well, all right? Because I want them to be nice and thick. Okay, nice and thick. Good. So this is starting to look good. This is starting to come together as a nice looking Bogu set. I'm quite looking forward to this already. Is there anything else I need to draw on here? I don't think so. Yes, there is. There's one more thing. What we're going to write here is we're going to put mendare. Of course, that doesn't have a kanji. We'll go for 20 cm. Okay, we'll put 20 centimeters here. Okay. So we're going to ask them to make the mendare about 20 centimeters, which is going to be appropriate for my size, because this is a sample. It comes to about the edge of my shoulders. I don't want it inside my shoulders, but I don't want it poking out either. I don't want it to get in the way. I find that I don't want it too short. If it's too short, I don't really like that. It makes me, for me, like the really short mendare looks like a kid. So, but I don't want this sort of really long stuff that like is a bit outdated as well. So we're gonna get rid of that. So just the 20 centimeters. That's a standard I tend to go for. Okie dokie. Let's get some text down so we can make this nice and clear. So here's what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna fill this black. All right, and I'm gonna start writing white text over it. Okay, so lorem ipsum, I don't know what that is. So what do we need to consider? Mengane. Okay, the mengane. Okay, that's the cage that goes on the front of the men. That's going to be an IBB duralumin. Okay, could use like a titanium one, but it'll rocket the cost up. It's unnecessary in terms of the extra durability it offers, and it's super heavy. Like for me, it's definitely noticeable from going from an IBB duralumin to a full titanium one. totally different feeling. So I want to keep that nice comfort feeling from an IBB duralumin. We could go with a standard duralumin, but the IBB is weighted better. It's got the reinforced bars at the top, so we're definitely going to prefer that. Urakawa. Now there's no picture of that on here. And what we're going to go with on this is I'm going to go for something a little bit different, I think. I think what we're going to go with is Kurozan. Okay, so Kurozan Kawa. I think that's going to be quite interesting. It's just for this bogu. It's something I've always wanted to do. Just it's largely aesthetic. Kurozan Kawa is the stuff that they used on the mune, the door mune, and I think this will look really nice. Actually, so it'll be like a black urakawa. It's only on the reverse. I'm just going to try this. If I don't like it when the sample comes, then maybe we'll change it when we put it out for sale. But we'll see what it looks like, and if it looks cool, that's what we'll go with. It's durable too, so yeah, we'll see how that looks. We will go with. What else do we need to put on here? The ago. Okay, so the skidare, the ago. Now I'm going to stick with a batsu. Okay, see if we can just get a plain batsu. There we go. There we go. No, it doesn't have a. That'll do. We're going to go for the cross pattern kazari because for me that's my favorite because I can match it with all the different do. What else do we need to have on this? We need to have. I think we're pretty much getting there. Membuchi. Membuchi. So this is the this part that goes around the mengane, and I'm talking about the color of this, and it's going to be red and black. Okay, we're going to go for the standard for that. Okay, I think we're pretty much getting there on this. So what we need now is the size for the sample. We'll go 65 because that's my size. I happen to know my sizes, so my computer's not used to me writing. I've written kote wrong there on purpose because there's two. Here's something interesting. If you're interested in Japanese, the word kote is usually written like this, small hand. Okay, and that's the word that we use for the waza, kote. But when we're talking about bogu, the actual piece, the item kote, it's written with a different kanji. It's written with this one usually. I think sometimes it can be used. There's another one as well that's sometimes used. It's a lot more complicated. People like to use it, but this is the most common one. When in reference to budogu, okay, so as an item, it's this kanji rather than this one, which is the one you'll see in a textbook. This one you would see in a textbook for the name of the waza, okay. So mine is 19 by 22 by 25, so that's fine. Tare, I'm not going to order a door because I've got like 20. I haven't got a 20, but tare is just L. The tare just generally just in 3 different sizes. So the standard L size tare is perfect for me. So I've got that in my size as well, and I think we're pretty much there. I think what we might do for this is we might make a new tag for it as well, but I'll talk to our workshop about that. So for the time being, we're going to write as well KS tag をつけてください。Oh dear. Got butterfingers today. Oops, that's probably not the best place, but there we go. Kudasau. Okay, so let's have a look. We've got, let's recap this. We've got 10mm stitching here, and we're asking them to make this as thick as we possibly can. It's going to be orizashi in terms of the stitching. Sorry, in terms of the reinforcement there, we're going 5mm nanomezashi on the ends there. This is going to look so good. This is going to be such a nice bogue set. We're going 20 centimeters for the length of the mendare, and we're going for real deerskin, navy deerskin for all the leather parts, except for the urakawa, which we're going to have as kurozan, which I think is going to look awesome. I'm really looking forward to that. And the tenochi, which we're going to use with white deerskin. We're going to have an orizashi tare, 5mm stitching on the odare and kodare. The reason for that, the reason I'm not doing 10mm there, the reason I'm doing 5mm there is because that's another part that rubs against your body. It rubs against your thighs as you're moving around. So we're going to not do that. We're going to keep it not do that. What am I talking about? It rubs against your thighs, so we're going to have the slightly more durable 5mm stitching there, like we're doing on the mendare. Okay, so the key here is having the right type of stitching in the right areas of the bogu. Okay, and 10mm on the my obi here because it's nice and flexible. It'll be comfortable, give you that bit more protection underneath the door as well. Same on the kote, we'll have that 10mm stitching here, and we're asking them to make that nice and thick. The reason I'm not asking them to make it thick on the Mai Obi is if I make it too thick on the Mai Obi, it'll make it super heavy and it'll make it a little bit more rigid. Okay, we want more flexibility on the Mai Obi of the tare, so that's another thing that matters. And do you know what I think we might do? I think we might. Should we add a yabane? I think just to make this bogu that little bit more special, just to make it a little bit different. Because this is going to be like a special edition bogue set. So let's just finish it off with, it needs to be black, this sort of yabane here, okay? And we're going to put, we're going to make that white shiro yabane. So we're going to write here, we're going to ask them to put a white, it's called a yabane, it's like a decorative stitch, all right? It's just a decoration, it's not going to do anything. I better write that in more detail, actually. Mendare. I'm just going to write this. I don't want it to be confusing. That's okay. That's okay. I'll write. I'll figure that out. What we'll do is we'll do that. I know what we'll do. I know what we'll do. I've got a plan, man. Brilliant. Right. What we'll do here is we'll make another one like that. Right. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually illustrate it on here. Like that. Look at that. Yeah, that's perfect, man. Perfect. Could not do that better. Look at that. Perfect. Perfectamundo. Right. Let's do that. Let's get another one of those. Get it over that way. Get it the other way around like that. Look at that. Doesn't that look good? That's going to look so good. Do you know why I like this? I like this because in the All Japan Championships that Eiga Sensei won, he had a men with the white yabane there. So I've always liked it. I've always had a bit of a thing for that, which is cool. So this one, what we're going to do is we're going to put it in the tad as well. I'm going to put it here maybe. Quite like that. So the second from the top one. The reason I'm going second from the top one, right? The reason I'm going second from the top one is if you put it at the very top one, you won't really see it when you've got the door on. It's going to go second from the top one, I think. Yeah. So I quite like that. I quite like that. I don't know. I'm going to talk to the craftsman about that. I'm sort of having doubts in myself about whether we should have that as, whether we should have it there or there. I'm having doubts a bit as to where we're going to put that. I'm not sure. I'm going to put it in the top, I think. I'm going to put it in the top. This is how I design Bogu. It's all on the fly. It's by the seat of my pants. You see that? We're going to do it like that. And if I don't like it when the sample comes, then I'll change it. And that's what we're going to do. So where's the eraser on this new Photoshop? Right, okay. Just so nobody gets confused there. Like that. Okay. Thinking that's looking pretty good. We'll take a look at that when it's all ready to go. We'll just add those beautiful arrows that I'm so good at drawing. We'll put them in yet another different color here, here, and here. Here and here. Look at that. How artistic. I think that's going to be interesting. I think that's going to be a cool Bogu set. I think it's going to look really nice. Yeah, I think that's it. I think I'm happy with that. So that is the process of how I would go about designing a Bogu set. Obviously, there's a lot of other things behind it, things that I've thought about for a while, the reasons why I've come to the decisions that I've come to. Like I say, watch the live stream if you haven't, that I did in the Kendo Show Early Access group. If you're not in that group, by the way, there's a link in the description to the group so that when I go live in there, you'll be able to watch it live and throw out questions and stuff like that. I think I've got all the Japanese right. If I've got Japanese wrong, well, I'm sure it's fine. But yeah, that's it. I hope it was interesting. And maybe when the sample comes in, which will probably be in a couple of months, we can have a bit of a look at how it's turned out. Thanks for watching, folks. Look forward to seeing you in the next video. Don't forget to support the channel by shopping at KendoStar. And I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.